You talked about Mike Keenan. I'm not sure. Well, you also play with Mike Milbury as a head coach too, which I can't imagine if you can just tell by your reaction. Can you explain those two as head coaches?
I can. When I'm asked, obviously Keenan had a lot of success. I think the best suited coach for the team I played for at that time was Mike Milbury.
Wow.
And yeah, guys, he was really good. He was really, really good. He was cerebral. We had a good locker room. He knew when to take the foot off the gas. He knew when to let us go. He knew when to let us figure things out for ourselves. And I've told some stories about some of the stuff he did that I just thought was so unique. And one I don't think I've shared, it was during a playoff series. And so in my 2 years with him, we went to the finals and went to the conference finals, and we lost to Mario's first cup team. So really good years. And we had a good locker room, Cam Neely, Ray Bork. We had some veterans like Gary Galley in that room. The goaltenders were both leaders, Andy Mogan, Reggie Lemelin. Some really good players. David Christian was a good player. Craig Janney was a really good player. And so Super Dave Reed was terrific. And so we were losing. I think we lost a game, and we had a meeting. And he brought in a couple of his team pictures. And he went into this long description of where these pictures were in his house. They were in a long hallway where he walked down to get to the garage. And he said, so, some days I blow right through them in a rush. I got to go somewhere. And some days I stop and I look at these pictures. I think he had 3 of them. And he said, and I look at specific guys and I think about those specific guys. And I think, I'll think, that guy got every single thing he had out of himself. He shouldn't have even been in the NHL, and he forged a great career. And I'll look at another guy and go, if he'd have given us half of what he'd had, we'd have been a better team. And he said, so these pictures are going to hang in your house somewhere, this team picture from this year. Wherever it's hanging, it might be in your gym, and you look at it one day and you're going to go through different guys that you haven't thought about in years, and you're going to wonder where they are, what they're doing, and if they're satisfied with what career they had, or if they're bitter, they regret what they didn't do. And by the way, guys are going to look at you. What are they going to say about you? What are they going to say about you? So he did things like that separated him from a normal motivational speech for me. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. And I told James Duthie a story and for his book, and it was about a skate we had or didn't have, and we were on a 6-game road trip, and it was the first night we lost 3-2, and Winnipeg was loaded. They had Howard Chuck, they had a really good team. Thomas Dean was a great player, and so we lost to them. It was fine, we were going on a 6-game road trip. He didn't say a word. We weren't playing till the fall. That was a Sunday night. We weren't playing till the following Saturday in Vancouver. We had the full week off. Oh. And so we had 3 days totally off in Van. So he didn't say a word after the game. And then we landed in Van Monday morning, and he said, we're going straight to the rink. And we were like, oh, geez, here we go, right? So we get to the rink. He said, you got 20 minutes to get on the ice. So the guys are rushing to get on the ice and cursing and swearing. And, for me, 20 minutes, it took me 20 minutes to tie one of my skates. And so now we're rushing. And when we got on the ice, he made us stand right along the boards on this, all the way along the board. So we couldn't move. And so he said, listen, we lost to a really good Winnipeg team last night. We were first overall in the NHL at this point. And he said, that really doesn't bother me. He said, but what bothers me is what's going on with some of you guys. And so I'm going to get that off my chest. We have the ice for 3 hours each of the next 3 days. I could kill you physically if I chose to. That's not what I'm going to do. But I need a workout. So I'm going to get a workout in. I'm going to go over and back twice for each one of you. But first, I'm going to tell you what's bugging me about you. So he went right down the line, Mark. And, he started with Lyndon Byers. And he said, Lyndon, you're one of the toughest guys in the NHL. Some nights you fight at a perfect time. Some nights you have no clue. Some nights you help the team. Some nights you hurt the team. You've got to figure it out, Lyndon. And you're a pretty good player. And then he pauses and goes, and by the way, I know where you were last Wednesday night. I know where you were Thursday night. I know where you were Friday night. And if that doesn't end, you won't have to worry about any of the first stuff I said because you won't be here. You won't be around.
Wow.
And he said, for that, I'm going to skate. So he goes over and back, twice. So now we're watching him, right? He's probably in his late 30s at the time, early 40s. We're thinking, holy geez, what's going to happen here? So he gets to me, he said, 3 weeks ago, we traded for the captain of the Philadelphia Flyers. He said, I walked into our locker room after our game. I couldn't believe how excited they were. We traded for the captain of the Philadelphia Flyers. Harry Stinson actually made a move. Like, he helped our hockey team. He said, you storm in here, and some nights you're our best player. Some nights your head's back in Philadelphia. He said, you're not a Philadelphia Flyer anymore. When you decide you're a Boston Bruin, we're going to have a chance to win. And for that, I'm going to skate. And he goes over and back, over and back.
Wow.
And it was unbelievable. And he got to Craig Janney, who was so talented. And he looked at him and he said, you are possibly the worst conditioned 23-year-old athlete in all of the major league sports. And for you, I will skate nowhere. And he went right to the next guy.
No way.
Wow. Wow.
So
brutal.
we're waiting for one guy, right? He gets to number 77. He goes, Ray Bourque. He goes, I played with number 4. He was really good. He said, you're going to go down, I don't know, top 5 in the history of the game, maybe top 4. I don't know. He said, but you still got to use the middle of the ice, don't you? You still got to step up and throw it up the middle of the ice. And he said, Ray giveaway. And now we're trying not to laugh, right? Like, it's like I'm looking at Ray, and Ray is fuming, and we're trying.
Is he pissed off? See, he's my favorite player of all time. I'm into this
he's
one.
Furious.
Yeah.
And so Milbury skates. By the way, halfway through, we thought he was having a heart attack, right? Sweating, turning red. We're like, what if he goes down out here? And not one of us has moved. So it goes through the whole team. And he said, if I see one of you in the next 3 days, I'll probably kill you. And he left.
No way.
Yep. And so now we're looking at each other. We haven't moved. We haven't taken a step right onto the ice. That was it. And so I think we had a little scrimmage for 20 minutes, went to the bar and talked about it. But Saturday night, and I actually went back, and I believe I've checked this correctly. We beat Vancouver 7-1. And I believe Ray had a goal and 5 assists. And I went over to him after the game and said, how you doing, buddy? He said, Ray, give away my ass.